Hey everyone, welcome to today's practice, which is a slow flowing, fairly gentle practice that will help you open up your hips and release the back of your body. And it should just leave you feeling more grounded inside yourself, tapped into your inner calm, and just overall more present in your own body. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's practice, and I'll see you on your mat. All right, we are beginning today's practice on our backs, feet on the floor, mat width apart. Go ahead and close your eyes and just begin to tune into your breath, tune into your body. Letting your spine sink down into the floor. And just beginning to center your awareness inward. And then go ahead and let your arms reach out in line with your shoulders. Keeping your feet mat width apart, begin to windshield wipe your legs from side to side for a gentle twist. So as you breathe out, dropping the knees over to one side, and then breathing in, bringing the knees, the legs back up through center, and exhaling them over to the opposite side. And just move at a pace that feels good to you, gently opening up your low back and your hips. And just take one more release of the knees. And then bringing those knees back to center and hugging knees in towards the chest. And just rock a little bit side to side, massaging out your low back. And really hug those legs in, maybe curl your head up, bringing your nose to your knees. And then breathe out, release your back down onto your mat. And reach down between your legs and try to grab your feet or your ankles and just pull the feet towards your belly button, giving those inner hips and thighs a gentle stretch. And then begin to work into a happy baby. And you can rock a little bit to the right and rock a little bit to the left. Again, just starting to open into your hips while massaging your back. Keep breathing. Take one more long, slow, deep breath in. And as you exhale, draw the knees all the way back into your chest. And then stretch your left leg long, right knee hugging in. Circle out your right ankle a couple times. And then stretch your right leg out straight, and you could just hold behind your knee and point and flex your right toes a couple times. Releasing along the back of that right leg. Good, and then bend your right knee and come into an easy recline twist here, bringing that right knee over to the left side of your body. Reach out with your right arm, gaze towards your right hand. Take a couple deep breaths. And then coming back up through center. And we'll switch sides. Bringing that left knee in, reaching your right leg out long, and begin to circle out your left ankle. And then when you're ready, you can extend your left leg out long and just hold on behind your knee or your thigh and point your left toes and then flex your left toes. Taking some deep breaths here into the back of that left leg. And then we'll twist on this side as well, so you can bend your left knee back in towards your chest and then cross it over to the right side of your body. Reaching out with your left arm, gazing towards your left hand, and just breathing deep into the belly here. Maybe breathing out, releasing the shoulders down into your mat. And then come on back through center. Hug both knees into your chest. And we're going to rock and roll forward and back a few times here. So sometimes it's helpful to hold on behind your knees again or behind your thighs. And then you're just going to start to roll forward and back. Massaging the length of your spine from head to tail. And after about 5 of those, you can roll right up to sit, and then we'll shift onto hands and knees. And stretch your hips back, coming in through a child's pose. And just let yourself land here in child's. Take a few breaths. Let your belly expand, let your low back expand with the breath. And just take about 1 more breath here. Deep inhale, complete exhale, releasing your entire body. And then we're going to come into some spinal pushes here. So slide your hands back alongside your knees and just roll up onto the crown of your head. And then as you exhale, push off your head and rock back into your child's. And do this a couple more times. So when you roll to the top of your head, push into your hands. Hands are stacked beneath your elbows. And when you release back, just let your hips land gently towards your feet. Do that one more time, breathing in to the top of your head, and then breathing out as you release your hips back and down. Beautiful. And then let your arms stretch back out in front into your full child's pose. And as you breathe in, round your spine and rise up to tabletop, hands and knees, and then arch your spine and pull your hips back towards your heels. And do that a couple more times. Inhaling, round your spine, roll up to hands and knees, arch your back. As you exhale, pull your hips towards your heels, arriving back in child's pose. One more time. Breathing in, roll forward and up, and breathing out, arching the back, shifting hips to the heels. Take a breath in, take a breath out. And then when you're ready, rising back up onto your hands and knees, tucking your toes, coming into your first downward facing dog. And maybe sway your hips a little side to side here. You can bend and straighten your knees. You can lift and lower your heels. And take a big stretch with your right leg, lifting it up, opening that right hip. And move things around a little bit. So you could circle your hip joint out. You could bend the right knee. Whatever feels good. And take a big breath in, stretch, stretch, stretch long here through the right leg. And then as you exhale, lunge your right foot to the outside of your right hand and just sink into your hips. And you can breathe in as your hips drop forward and down. And then as you exhale, just push back. Let your hips pull back a little bit. And then rock back forward as you inhale. And just do that a couple times, forward and back, mobilizing your hip joints. Let the movement feel good. And then let's hang out in this lunge a little bit longer. And if you have the flexibility to drop down to your forearms, go for it. And you can still be moving, rocking a little side to side, whatever feels good. And then if you'd like, add a little twist here. Bring your right hand to your right thigh and gaze past your right elbow. Again, this movement should feel good, and you could even take it a little bit deeper. You could bend your left knee and reach back with your right hand and see if you can hook your foot. This can be a really intense stretch, so just take it as far as it's comfortable for you. And then slowly begin to release and come all the way back into your downward facing dog. Let your hips reset here. And then we'll switch sides. So lift your left leg up and stretch out that left hip. And again, you might move around a little bit here, maybe circling out your hip joint, circling your ankle some more, bending and straightening that left knee. And when you're ready, lunge your left foot to the outside of your left hand. So this is a wide lunge. And again, we're going to be moving a little bit. So you can press your hips forward as you inhale. And then pull your hips back a little bit as you exhale. Move forward and back a couple more times with your breath. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Oiling the joints of your hips. And you might stay up on your hands, or maybe you lower down to your elbows. Just make sure your left knee is stacked over your left ankle. You can take your left hand to your left thigh, twisting. And again, maybe you'll bend your right knee and try grabbing hold of your right foot with your left hand for a deeper stretch. And just go easy, go gentle. See what feels good here and breathe deeply. Take one more breath in. And as you exhale, you can release that right foot if you did grab it. And just slowly begin to work your way up and back through your downward facing dog. And again, you might wiggle your hips out just a little bit to reset them. Take a deep breath in and out. And then walk your hands back to your feet and just come into a relaxed forward fold here. So you might bend your knees a little bit, and if you'd like, you could even hook your elbows with your hands and sway from side to side. Just let your head be heavy, let your spine fully release. Just take one more breath, breathing in nice and deeply. Really letting go along the back of your body here as you exhale. Feel your feet imprinting down into your mat. Take another breath in as you lengthen out your spine. Separate your feet a little wider than hips, and then come down into a yogi squat. And if it works to bring your hands to press into a prayer position, great. elbows pressing against your inner knees and just letting your tailbone drop heavy towards the earth. And breathe nice and deeply here. This is a great pose for helping us ground our energy. And for a little deeper stretch, you could release your hands, walk your hands forward, plant your palms into your mat, and pull back gently with your pelvis. Take 1 or 2 more deep breaths here, just fully releasing through the hips, knees, and ankles. And then we'll walk the hands back, come through your forward fold, adjust your feet. And take a breath in to stretch your spine out long, looking forward. And then come back into your downward facing dog, walking your hands out. And from downward facing dog pose, come into plank position, upward push-up. So bring your body forward, shoulders stacked over your wrist. And we're going to lower all the way down to the belly. Bring your hands right by your shoulders and curl up into a cobra pose. Yep, so shrug those shoulders up, back, and down. Hug your elbows in. Stretch long through your toes. Legs are active. And then breathe out and let your right cheek touch down on your mat. And inhale back up into your cobra. And exhale, touch your left cheek down onto your mat, releasing your neck. And once more, curl up, breathe into cobra. Gentle back bend. And then walk your forearms forward and come into Sphinx pose. And we're going to hold here for a few more breaths. If there's any strain in your back, just going to gently hug your navel towards your spine. Take another breath here, breathing in, breathing out. And then slowly release, bringing your forehead down to your mat. Snug your hands in by your ribs and gently push yourself up and back through child's pose. And just rest here in child's, taking some deep breaths into your back. And just melt your shoulders. And on your next breath in, you can go ahead and rise up to hands and knees and then come around to sit on your mat. And we're going to do some forward folds. So if you want to grab any props, blocks are great. Sometimes sitting up on a folded blanket is helpful too. And we're going to start with just a simple forward fold here. So legs straight out in front. And as you exhale, tip yourself forward and down. And I'm using a block today underneath my forehead to make this extra restorative. Wherever you end up, see if you can just melt into the pose and really focus in on your breathing. Slow your breath down just a little bit more, extending your exhalations out nice and long, really letting go through the back of your body. letting the back of your legs be heavy on your mat. And taking your last breath out, rolling up with your inhale. And we're going to come into another forward fold, a widespread seated forward fold. And sometimes it's nice to take your fingers right behind your hips here and just lift your chest. And it's okay to stay here, especially if this is a challenging pose for you, or begin to tip forward to your edge. And again, I'm utilizing a block today underneath my forehead to make the posture a little bit more restorative. Deep breaths here. Each time you exhale, letting go a little bit more. Scanning through your body, noticing any places of tension, and then just breathe out and see if you can soften through those parts. Release your jaw. And just taking a couple more breaths in this pose. Maybe you can feel the back of your heels sinking down even more. And then inhaling, slowly rise. You might need to scoop your knees up with your hands, and we'll finish up here with Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So soles of the feet come together. And again, you could prop up on your fingertips behind your hips and just lift your chest and stay there, or push forward, coming down to your level in the pose today. Maybe resting your head on a support like a block or a bolster. And then let's direct the breath down into the pelvis and into the hips. And as you breathe out, feeling your spine letting go into the body. Keeping the jaw, keeping the face soft and released. Check in with your breath here. See if you can slow it down a little bit more, especially your exhalations. And on your next in-breath, begin to walk those hands back. Come all the way upright. And then we'll shift down onto our backs. Getting ready for Savasana, our final relaxation. So sometimes it's really nice to place a pillow, a bolster, or a folded blanket beneath your knees. That can be especially helpful if you have low back tension. And then feel free to stretch your arms out alongside your body here as you lie back, or you could rest your hands over your belly and just feel your belly rising upward into your hands as you inhale. And feel the belly releasing down away from your hands as you exhale. And just letting go here for these last couple minutes of your practice today, fully surrendering what's to come after this practice and letting go of where you've been so that you can just be here and be nourished from this moment. And if you can keep resting, I highly encourage you to do so. But if you're ready to move out into the rest of your day, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, maybe circling out your wrists and ankles. And just leisurely rolling off to your side and rising up to sit for a moment on your mat. Sit however you feel most comfortable. Maybe just let your eyes come to close and just taking a couple breaths in gratitude for your practice today. You can breathe and sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale through an open mouth, pull the hands down through center. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.